I just gotta say, there's nothing quite like the Christmas season. You just can't beat this weather that calls for hot cocoa and cuddling up next to the fire. So the weather certainly isn't helping set the mood for this festive time of year, so I took matters into my own hands. Playing through Pokemon Gold with just a Stantler was surprisingly fun. It wasn't nearly as challenging as I thought it would be, but now I have a newfound appreciation for the deer. I even ordered a plushie of Stantler that's a Christmas gift from my wife, but I don't know about it yet, so shh. I figured we'd journey through Johto again with another holiday-centric Pokemon. I even picked this one up in the Stantler run, naming him the Tree. That's right, today we're gonna see how difficult it is to beat Pokemon Silver with just a Sudowoodo. You probably figured it out by reading the title, but you can never be too clear sometimes. I certainly wasn't planning on this run, but after seeing how well the Stantler video was done, I knew I needed to celebrate the festiveness just a little bit longer. And I didn't expect Stantler to be as strong as he was, so I'm fully expecting this run to be even easier too. But these aren't always done for the challenge as much as it is to recount the adventure done in a very unconventional way. Sudowoodo's base stats are pretty lopsided. Its attack and defense are pretty solid, but speed and special attack are very lacking. Special defense and health aren't miserable, but they could definitely be a bit better. As usual, here's the rules for the run. I will only be using Sudowoodo, and not evolving it, which will be easy to do for obvious reasons. Remember when Trevenant was thought to be an Evo for Sudowoodo? I think he deserves an evolution. I will also not be using items in battle that require a turn. Held items are okay to use. I replaced Cyndaquil with the fake tree so that our rival will have Totodile, having an advantage over us. And it totally didn't dawn on me until typing this out that I could have given him Chikorita as well. Both have a type advantage over Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo's name isn't quite as festive as I wanted it to be, but my friend McLovin helped me get the name Giving Tree, which is a classic book in case you have no semblance of culture. Stats are interesting at the beginning. I feel like the attack and defense stats are way higher than it should be for any starter Pokemon. Also, I have Rock Throw at the beginning, and since I started this run at night, Hoot Hoot are the only things spawning, so I literally only took damage during the beginning route when I missed an attack. After receiving word that a Pokemon had been stolen from Professor Elm, I tracked down the holiday humbug that took Totodile. This battle wasn't tough at all because he didn't have any water moves yet. When he learns water moves later, it got a lot more difficult. Back at the lab, I named our rival Mr. Grinch. Well, it's actually Mr. Grinch. I don't get why Pokemon names could be like 10 letters long, but player names could only be 7. And I mean, I literally don't get it. There's so many things in game design that are far beyond my knowledge, but hey, this is just one of those things. I'm not gonna lie, going into Sprout Tower, a place full of grass types, was a little scary. Even with some levels over them all, I was afraid that one rogue Vine Whip would destroy me. But the only time one hit me was when I missed a Rock Throw, and it only did 5 HP damage. So luckily I didn't have much to worry about after all. And Whitneys Gym? Let's just look at the facts. I'm a Rock-type Pokemon with Rock Throw, against Pidgey and Pidgeotto. Yeah, this worked out about as well for Falkner as you could imagine. Around this point I started using Flail in addition to Rock Throw, and there's a few times in the run where Flail saved me from having to repeat battles. Flail does more damage the less health you have, and when you're in the red, it's like a fantastic desperation attack. I also taught Mudslap to Giving Tree. I made the mistake of not teaching it to all of the Stantler till it was past its usefulness, and I didn't want to miss that opportunity this run. Bugsy's gym wasn't challenging at all. Just think about it. Rock type. Bug types. Bugsy used to be the gym leader that troubled me the most as a child. Even more than Whitney and her Miltank. It's just nice to crush him underneath these rocks. Also, the AI did something really weird in this battle. After taking down Metapod, it swapped to Scyther instead of Kakuna. If it had a type advantage, it would make sense, but Scyther is even weaker to Sudowoodo than Kakuna is. I'm seriously not sure why the AI did this. Mr. Grinch showed up before entering the Ilex Forest. His Ghastly was no problem. It annoyed me by putting me to sleep, but it wasn't awful. Croconaw, however, was a pain in the butt. I lost to Croconaw on the very first battle. I tried to just muscle through on my first attempt, but Water Gun absolutely wrecks me. The second attempt had me using Mudslap twice to lower its accuracy, but that didn't even help. It landed every attack. But it used Rage twice instead of Water Gun, and even though it took over half of my health, Croconaw was done. And Rock Throw was simply too much for Zubat. Instead of getting an Oddish this run to use Cut, I caught a Paris. I really like Paris. It's a Pokemon that I wish I liked more, if that makes any sense. I couldn't think of any names for this one that's Christmas themed. I kept Googling Christmas bugs, and I only got pictures of Bugs Bunny and Santa Claus costumes. And that's why I named the Paris Mel. If you don't get it, learn up on some Looney Tunes. Because the Giving Tree has Low Kick, a fighting type move, I expected Whitney's Gym to be a cakewalk. And it was, except it was a lot easier at the beginning than it was at the end. Whitney's Clefairy went down in one hit, but Miltank took 3 low kicks. One more turn of it using Rollout could have really been disastrous for me. But, in the end, it really wasn't that bad. Between Goldenrod and Ecruteak, we encountered the Imposter Tree, and the Giving Tree didn't quite like this imposter. So we chopped it down in the most festive way we knew how. After the tree, we got our flyer for the run, Hoot Hoot, named Turtle Dove, which is actually the first Christmas-themed name I have on my team so far. The egg from Professor Elm's aid also hatched, and we appropriately named the egg Nog. And then we threw it in the PC to never be seen again. Morty's gym wasn't tough at all. I used Mud Slap on all the Ghastlies in the gym, but Haunter and Gengar were a little too tough for just Mud Slap. But somewhere along the way I learned Rock Slide, and that took everything out. So it was really one of those situations where using the stab move was better than using the super effective move. And we're on Christmas break right now. No time for math with Coach Max. Do the math in your head. Mr. Grinch in the Burnt Tower could have been disastrous, but Rock Slide caused his Croconaw to flinch, so it didn't even get the chance to take me out with a water move. But this stinking Zubat proved more difficult than I expected. I accidentally used Low Kick on it instead of Rock Slide at first, so it had the opportunity to confuse me, and I dealt a ton of damage to myself. Luckily, the Giving Tree pushed through. This wouldn't have been awful to repeat, but it would have just hurt my pride a good bit. I caught a Tauros for Surf and named it Annabelle. Apparently there's a Christmas movie about some cow named Annabelle, and it's my wife's favorite Christmas movie. I've never seen it, but I figured it'd be a good thing to throw in here for my wife. Chuck's gym wasn't tough, is what I wish I was saying. I tried using Mud Slap instead of powering through the gym, and it was not the right move. I fainted to 2 of Chuck's junior trainers because I was stubborn and kept using Mud Slap. This move only has 20 power. I knew it was weak, but I didn't know it was that weak. Chuck himself proved more difficult than I expected as well. I didn't go for Mud Slap on Primeape. I went straight for the stronger Rock Slide and won in 2 hits. It used Fury Swipes instead of a fighting move for some reason, and it made it so much easier. I probably could have won this run if I had just not been stupid after this point. I used Mud Slap on Poliwrath to lower its accuracy, but it kept using Mind Reader, making sure its attacks would land. And I should have just gone straight for Rock Slide at that point, but no, let's keep lowering its accuracy. And Dynamic Punch made short work of the Giving Tree. I lost to Chuck. Not to spoil too much in the rest of the run, but I think Chuck was the hardest gym in the entire game. I'm not sure if that's impressive or sad. The second attempt at Chuck was all I needed though. I didn't mess around and use Mud Slap this time. I went straight for Rock Slide on Poliwrath. If Poliwrath had gone for an attacking move, this might have been different too, as Rock Slide didn't do as much as I was hoping it would, but it kept using Hypnosis and missed every time. So I got out of this dangerous gym and flew back to Olivine. In what felt like a swap around for the run, Jasmine's gym was much easier than it normally is. Having Low Kick made super quick work of her Magnemite, even if I wanted to use Mud Slap. The AI also did that weird thing of swapping the order of Pokemon, but Steelix had Iron Tail, a super effective move on rock types. Steelix almost crushed me, but I went for the Mud Slap strat, and this caused it to miss a move just at the right moment. I probably should have gone for just Low Kick the entire time, but I wanted to cheese the system as much as I could. Jumping ahead to the Lake of Rage, the red Gyarados actually helped me out. I learned that Rock Slide would take out a level 30 Gyarados in one hit, so by the time I got to Lance and leveled up some more, it would still do the job against his Gyarados. The Rocket Hideout was no trouble. I feel like I have to at least mention it, but there's literally nothing I can say about it. Price's Pokemon all died to Rock Slide in one shot, except for Piloswine. He switched it out second, I'm guessing because of the ground advantage over Sudowoodo, but it flinched after Rock Slide, and then nothing of interest happened in the rest of the battle. The Radio Tower takeover was uneventful as well. I died once because Giving Tree was poisoned and ran out of moves, struggling to death. That was mainly because I was low on attacks and had already reached struggle too. It wasn't really that they had overpowered me or outstrategized me. I was worried about Mr. Grinch's team in the underground because now he has a Feraligatr, but it didn't threaten the tree at all. Thank goodness. Before taking on Claire, I went and bought the TM for Ice Punch from the department store. It's not a super strong move, but it's going to give me the versatility that I needed to take down the dragon types. The first trainer in Claire's gym went down easily to Ice Punch, so I expected smooth sailing through the rest of the gym. And I was partially right. Ice Punch is more than a Dratini can handle, but Dragonair are just a little bit more bulky. Claire's team doesn't go down in one hit from Ice Punch. Her first Dragonair tried to paralyze me, but it missed, so I took no damage after the first one. But it sent out Kingdra afterwards, and I tried to lower its accuracy, but Surf absolutely wrecked me. On the second attempt, I went straight for Rock Slide, and that packed a punch, but it left it with just a tiny little bit of health left over. No win this time either. You remember how I said Chuck was the easiest gym? I forgot about Claire's Kingdra. After a good chunk of tries, I learned that Dragonair went down to just one Rock Slide. In the few levels I gained attempting this battle over and over, I actually outsped Kingdra, landed Mud Slap, and lowered its accuracy enough to affect it. Then I used Rock Slide and took out the rest of her team. This battle was rough. I love water types, and Surf is one of my favorite moves. Seeing it used against me so much was a little heartbreaking, not gonna lie. I needed a Pokemon for Whirlpool and Waterfall, so I got another Chinchou, naming this one Danny. This is a little like the name Manny in the Stantler run, so I'll let you connect the reference yourself on this one. Before taking on Mr. Grinch outside of the Elite Four, I got Earthquake for Sudowoodo to get rid of Mud Slap. The accuracy drop is really nice, but this move is just so weak. Between my high level, high power moves, and the power of Christmas Spirit, Mr. Grinch's team went down in 1 or 2 hits each. And now we've finally reached the Elite Four. I leveled up just a little bit before actually taking on the Elite Four, and went and got some PP ups for Rock Slide and Earthquake. First up was Will, and I did not expect much of a fight out of this nerd. As I expected, Xatu was crushed by Rock Slide. 2 Ice Punches took care of Executor, and out came Slowbro. I used Rock Slide, and it took a good chunk of his health. Then it flinched, so I took no damage on the Pokemon that should have been the biggest issue. Jinx was crushed by Rock Slide as well, and you're probably wondering why I said this fight was an issue still. His last Xatu was faster than me. It confused me, had me hit myself a ton of times, and with 18 health left, I grounded the bird. So it's not like the battle was really that bad. I was literally my own worst enemy this entire fight. Rock Slide and Earthquake literally crushed everything on Koga's team. Let's continue. Bruno's team had me worried, and for good reason. These fighting types could crush the Giving Tree. Earthquake took down Hitmontop, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan, with Hitmonchan getting a quick, ineffective Mach Punch on me. Onix sunk into the earth after the quake, and so I only had Machamp to deal with. Earthquake put him in the yellow health, but then Cross Chop hit, and it just kept taking health away. It was a critical hit, so I wasn't really in any danger, but man, it was scary. And for some reason, I used Rock Slide instead of Earthquake twice after he used a Hyper Potion. I'm not really sure why I did this at all. I almost lost because of it, but I didn't, and that's what matters. Karen's team of Dark types didn't intimidate me too much. 2 low kicks took out Umbreon, 2 Ice Punches on Vileplume, Gengar used Curse, but Earthquake took down its already low health, and Houndoom and Murkrow dropped in 1 hit, so I didn't even take damage from Curse. This was nice. This was a very nice, calm battle before the champion. Rock Slide took out his Gyarados in 1 hit. I opted for Ice Punch on Dragonite, and I thought that it being double effective on Dragon Flying would take it down in 1 hit, but it held on in the yellow, enough to paralyze me. I learned that Hyper Beam barely damages me, which was very nice to learn. But being paralyzed was very unfun for the rest of the battle. I really should have just used Rock Slide for the rest of the time. Rock Slide decimates Charizard like I was expecting it to, but not before taking some damage from Flamethrower. His last Dragonite misses Blizzard and goes down in 1 Rock Slide, so I thought that I had won the game. But his Aerodactyl landed 1 Rock Slide before I could, stopping me in my tracks. Second attempt. Same song and dance for Gyarados, but out comes Charizard next for some reason. He used his Dragonite after Gyarados last time, and Charizard goes down in 1 Rock Slide just like last time too. But Flamethrower burned me this time. I expected the cut and attack to really hurt me, but it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would. But then he sent out his strongest Dragonite next, and Rock Slide couldn't take it down in one hit. At least I couldn't be paralyzed this time. In a match of just pure brawn, I was able to take out the rest of his team with Rock Slide, with only 36 HP at the very end. Even though this was the second attempt, it felt like it took a lot more to beat Lance. Time for the real champion. I'm skipping over all the stuff in Kanto because none of the trainers except for Blue are any trouble, and even then, he doesn't put up as much trouble as you would expect him to. Red's Pikachu is always faster than Giving Tree. Luckily, it only ever used Charm, which lowered attack, and Thunder, which would paralyze every once in a while, but it didn't happen consistently enough. Earthquake took Pikachu out in one go every single time. Espeon has much higher defense than I expected, and I'm always slower than it. This means that Rock Slide never made it flinch, and at level 76, I never got past Espeon. I had to commit to grinding to take it down. Psychic just does too much harmful damage against me. As opposed to helpful damage, I guess, but you get what I mean. Level 80 now. A critical hit Rock Slide took out Espeon, so that's nice to know. Out comes Venusaur. I used Ice Punch, hoping it would freeze it, but it never, in all of my attempts, did, and Solar Beam wipes me out. Just for future reference, I never survived a Solar Beam from his Venusaur. And I'm getting a phone call right now. I grinded again to level 86. I'm still not faster than Espeon. I don't think I ever wound up being faster either. Ice Punch is doing a lot more damage than it did at first against Venusaur too, but I just can't survive Solar Beam. I grinded again to level 88. Still not enough. Level 89. I used Rock Slide instead of Ice Punch on Venusaur. It does so much more damage. Not enough to take it out in one hit, but enough to take him down before Solar Beam is charged up. And I should have just done that from the beginning. Out came Blastoise. I was scared of this thing. Rock Slide did a little over half health damage, and it flinched. Holy cow. Blastoise didn't land any hits. Snorlax absorbs a Rock Slide for a little more than half of its health, and it flinched as well. And then it was just the Charizard and the tree. It burned me, which isn't nice, but Rock Slide destroyed the overrated Fire Lizard. I'm sure there's something I could say about how Charizard is incredibly overrated and Venusaur is much better, but I don't really want that flame war going on in the comment section. I did not start this run thinking it would be really tough. I fully expected to just blast through everything, but Sudowoodo isn't as strong as I was expecting it to be. That just made the run more fun and interesting though. The Giving Tree has definitely given me an appreciation for Sudowoodo. Not more than Stantler though. I'll always like Stantler a lot more after the run with Olive. If I've learned anything from this run, it's that Rock Slide is the move to use with a rock type. It's killer, and it makes Pokemon flinch. That's pretty awesome. Now if you're a regular viewer on the channel, you're probably wondering where the Pokemon Shield run is, since I said that would be the next video. I thought of this run right after uploading the Stantler video, and I wanted it out by Christmas. So now the next Pokemon challenge will be the Shield starter run, and I'll be using Scorbunny. Yay. This was voted on by my followers at Twitter, and you can follow as well at Coach Mac's YouTube for more involvement. Thank you so much for checking out the channel today. I've got other Pokemon challenge vids up that are fun, and non-Pokemon videos that I really enjoyed making as well. Be sure to check them out. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and until next time, see you later.